We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Just go to Indeed.com/Blue Wire right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Folks, welcome back. This is an episode of Mavs Party. I am Kirk Henderson, joined by you guys. This is our fan participation show. Those of you who are watching on the live stream, feel free to click the link to the StreamYard app. It is an easy-to-use app that will let you join from your phone or from your computer, where you can hop up here and talk a little basketball with me, share your takes, share your reactions. Really, we can kind of talk about anything. My favorite was after the game, my wife is sitting next to me. She's holding our baby, and she goes, well, shit, I guess you have to go do 2 shows now, don't you? Which is correct, because we should celebrate a game like this. All right, I see 2 folks already hopped in, so we're going to get right to them. We're just so everyone understands, I try to go to folks both in order, but if I see a new name, I'm going to bring that person up first. But first, we got my guy, Mr. Dang, who we're not talking late at night. Isn't that great? How you doing, Doe?
Hey, let me pause it real quick.
Pause it? What's going on?
Okay, I had YouTube going, and then
sure.
Yeah.
No, completely understand.
So,
welcome. What are you thinking?
We lucked into it. I mean, there's so many ways we could have lost it, and it's still same Maxey thing, you know? I'm like,
oh, come on. You didn't like that even a little bit?
I'm ready to hire Hitman to take out THJ and Maxey. Not kill them. Just maim their feet a little bit for the rest of the season.
Just you want to go, like, you want Kid to get Nancy Kerrigan is what I'm hearing.
Oh, yeah, especially Kid, you know.
That's very dark.
Now it's 3 people, not just 2, and then take out Nico while you're at it.
Y'all are amazing.
We need to.
All right, tell me what it was. It's got to be bad for everybody's hearts for that Kyrie shot, though, because I'm glad. Like, the Luka made 3 was like probably it'll get underplayed, rightfully so, because Kyrie's shot was pretty amazing. But Luka had been ass for about 5 solid minutes. Now I know Luka super fans, don't get mad at me. The man missed bunnies. The man missed free throws. He was pissing me off.
Don't be mad at him. Be mad at Luka.
I was pissed at Luka. And you know, then he just comes out, and this is why you give the ball. This is why a guy like that is a killer, because he wants
all
the
you
ball.
Luka super fans, you need a spanking in the ass, because obviously you love him too much to call him out. You know, no superstar deserves that kind of godlike appreciation. You know, it's ridiculous.
But his 3-pointer was amazing.
I agree.
Like, it's the kind of like, oh shit shot that you're looking for. And then Murray. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, and then Murray goes down, and Murray had just been torching us. I think he had 12 points in the fourth, which he only had 11 before the fourth quarter. So that's he was just killing Dallas, and for him to miss that shot was pretty damn remarkable. Matthew pointed out that everybody's favorite Mavs player, Tim Hardaway Jr., tried to take the dribble after getting the rebound, which would have stopped the advancement of the ball. But it's really, I just had a great time. The fact that they drew up a different play was just astounding to me.
Shocking.
Yeah. And, I don't think anybody would have been, honestly, if Kyrie would have missed that shot, I would have been like, okay, 4 seconds guarded by a huge guy. It's, it is what it is. I mean, and Kyrie had, he had 3 for 8 in the first half. He came out and missed 3 wide open 3-pointers. I mean, wide open 3-pointers.
Oh, yeah.
And you could tell he was pissed. Just, because they're wide open. And then he proceeded to rebound and have a really astoundingly good third quarter where he really closed to where the Mavericks led 84-79. He had 2 buckets. The Mavericks had a 9-0 run where they went from 65 points to 74 points. Kyrie, I think he assisted on 2 of the makes and then had a make himself. Just a really great bounce back half after kind of a pedestrian first half where you saw Kendrick Perkins being like, they need to involve Kyrie more. And yes, they do. But Kyrie's game works so well with Luka because there's very little forcing. I'm going to take what comes to me. And with the game winning shot, he took what was available. And I mean, I just can't get over. My wife keeps sending me videos. My son is out front attempting left-handed running hook shots. Not the most. He's not having Kyrie's result, is what I'll tell you. It's pretty funny to watch, though. But what else you got for you? I'm talking over you.
Yeah, I forgot, or I kind of forgot about the game because I was so busy working and stuff. But I was able to catch it on DVR, so I didn't hear your first show very much.
Yeah.
But the rebounding was the thing that really kept us in the game. The level of effort on the rebounding was amazing, especially against Denver, who has size. I was really impressed. But my God, what do you have to do to get Maxey out? I mean, I just don't understand. I mean, the
lineup that was in at the end of that game was pretty big, and I do like the size, but he just has to hit something. I mean, there are droughts, but this is it's 11 points in 163 March minutes.
Yeah.
That's 1 point every 1.4 quarters.
Right.
Or, I'm sorry, 1.25 quarters. Really bad.
Well, if you want to go big, why not double Lively and Gafford?
The defense in space is, I think, something they're still worried about how Lively gets called for stuff. And to an extent, Gafford, there was a play, I don't know if you remember this, but Gafford got shake and baked by Aaron Gordon from the left corner. He got matched up on him in isolation. And I just think they worry about Gafford in space. I don't necessarily think it's fair. It's not like any other Mavericks playing better defense, but I think that's what the worry is, if that makes sense.
It is, but instead of playing, let's say, the double tall lineup in the end, why don't you insert it, somewhere in the middle of the game, for a few minutes just to see how it rolls out?
Well, maybe they will against one of these weaker opponents. I'm kind of the Nuggets are a tough team to experiment against because I kind of felt like the Mavericks were going to lose the thread at any moment. Only then all of a sudden they're up 13.
Yeah, or even roll out Omax, with a big lineup of Lively or Gafford, and really
that would require him. That would require him being with the Mavs. I think he might. I think he's with the Nuggets. So I'm sorry, the Legends.
And then if you kind of look at it, we were having better success with Lively on I can't remember his name, the center for the Denver Nuggets. We had better success from him in the second half. Yeah.
Yeah, they let him play a little bit more. They were calling fouls on him in the first quarter, but I mean, it was a real physical game, real physical game.
Right. And then on top of it, I would have liked to seen either our best wing defender, PJ Washington, or DJJ Jr., whatever his name is, guard, the point guard for Denver Nuggets. What's his name? I would like to
Murray?
see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were torching. He was getting torched by everybody that we put on him. I'm like,
Sure.
they were switching on to Luka with him. I'm like, why don't you try something different? Those guys have length at least, that you could put on them. Maybe they can't keep up with them. The heck, everyone else they put on couldn't keep up with them.
Sure. Well, I wouldn't. I had a great time. That's 2 of the 3 Denver games have been really fun. I'm looking forward to. I don't know if they should be done for the season. I wonder if they play one more time. I should know this. You'd think I'd know this considering I run a Mavs site, but that's just the way things go sometimes. Well, you got anything else for us? Because I see we almost got a packed house down below.
What's the next game? Who we playing next?
So they play the Spurs at the Spurs, and that is on Tuesday. There's only 2 games this week. Then they play a home and home with the Jazz.
Okay, is Wemby hurt?
No, they'll probably play him, but I mean the rest of their team is so weird. I hopefully the Mavs play a full roster just so we can notch the win. But I think they're probably going to be tempted to rest Luka or Kyrie. I don't know if you caught this little tidbit during the broadcast. This is the most consecutive games that Kyrie's played since the 2016 season. So
wow,
that's going on 8 years. So good for him, and he looks great. All right, man. Thanks so much for kicking us off. All right, coming up next, we got my guy Jose. Haven't seen Jose in here in a long time. Jose, buddy, what's up?
Not much, chilling. How about you, Kurt?
I'm coming down from a high. I'm grateful this wasn't an evening game because otherwise this would be like a game where I would just be up until 3 a.m, which now I get to kind of, maybe go drink some tea and relax after this is done. But right now I'm enjoying the high. This feels really good.
You drinking tea? That's surprising. Usually you'd be talking about one of your mixers that you're making. And
that's true.
Going off into the sun.
Little cocktail. That's a good point. Maybe I should have a cocktail. Jose, always thinking ahead. That's a good point.
Yes, sir. But man, I had to say, Kyrie, beyond the constant rhetoric that, oh my God, like Kyrie's one of the best closers in the game, and Kyrie doesn't work with Luka. It's just to see Kyrie be able to make a shot like that, and everybody always says it. This is why you trade for a superstar like Kyrie's caliber. This is why, so we could have moments like this, so you could get plays drawn up for a Kyrie to make shots like that. And you and Josh are always the biggest proponents in terms of talking about our offensive schemes out of timeouts. And they even mentioned it on the broadcast.
Yeah.
We have the second best offense out of the timeout. And it makes me beg for more drawn up plays. I think you and Josh also said hey, Luka and Kyrie, you don't have to draw up plays for them, but drawing up plays for everybody else is kind of essential at this point. And given how PJ Washington shot hasn't been following, it's kind of well, I would love to see PJ cut more. I would love to see DJ cut more because those are 2 very athletic players that we have. Sometimes, these 2 are the most athletic players we've had in a long time.
Sure.
And to kind of sit them idly by on the 3-point line is kind of a waste of their talent as well. I've grown a infinity for DJ just because of the little things that he does, whether it's guarding on the perimeter, whether it's switching, rotating last minute to maybe get a block or get a steal. Just the way he runs to the basket, if he knows the 3 is probably a little bit too late in the shot clock to take, and he just drives at the rim. I love to see that. The Mavs over the last couple of games have been attacking the basket a little bit more, and I love to see it because when our 3 ball ain't falling, it's we got to win either in the mid range, we got to win at the foul free throw line, or we got to win at the rim.
Yep.
So I love to see those types of actions implemented when Luka and Kyrie could just generate anything else for themselves. Sure. So defensively, one of the problems that I have with watching the Mavs lately is I see a lot of tendency to overhelp for Luka and Kyrie, and that's because, like Matthew said, we just want them to try. And when
Yep.
they're not trying, like that overhelp really kills us. So when they are trying, like, hey, we could ease up on overhelping. We could let Maxey sit in the paint. We could let Lively sit in the paint. Gafford sit in the paint. Or even THJ, even though he's, oh my God, THJ. Even though THJ is THJ, like if Kyrie and Luka are just playing with a little bit more effort on defense, hey, we could skate by on some of the times where Jason Kidd does roll out the 3-guard lineup. And that's not one of my favorite lineups either, because I feel like Exum as a connector was somewhat good today, just didn't get a lot of runtime today. But we need those 3 ball handlers to be able to just play some defense. And Exum, plays very solid defense on a game-to-game basis. So I'm not necessarily worried about him, but Luka and Kyrie definitely.
I am worried about – look, man, Exum has been one of my favorite additions to the Mavericks, but someone – like he needs to go straight to prison for throwing a lob to Maxey Kleber in 2024. Like that play almost ended me. I was like, what is happening?
It wasn't the Jaden Hardy one to Gafford?
That one, yeah, but I mean, that one is, I don't know, because it's like, at least with Gafford, he could jump. Like with Maxey, it was like, what, why? What is, and at least Maxey got fouled, because that would, it ended up being no big deal, but at the time, I'm like, how did this possibly happen? So.
Also, speaking of Hardy, he had some runtime, so yay, I guess.
I think Kidd yanked him pretty quick, though. I think he made a defensive mistake not getting back, and then he was out pretty quick after that. So It's little stuff like that. I think Hardy will clean it up, because it's the effort when he's locked in. It's just getting back on defense is a team problem, and the Mavericks did pretty good today, so this is nice to see.
Just a quick little more tidbits. I love when this Mavs iteration gets out and plays in pace. I love the fast break opportunities, because I feel like they could just do so much more, as opposed to the half court offense when we're just dependent on Luka and Kyrie to generate some offense. Like it's just so fun to see PJ just throw it down to Gafford, and Gafford just goes up with contact, finishing at the rim. And also Derek Lively, for being a rookie, he's really adapting quickly to guarding like the Wemby's, the Jokic's. I can't remember how fair he did against Giannis in the paint, but like y'all mentioned length on the pod before this, but just Lively putting his hands up, defending a Jokic, that has positive reaction. Also, if we're gonna like make Maxey a stretch 5, even though he's god awful in the last I don't know how many games from 3. Like let's say Lively, you know what, you got it today. let's have you hit some threes, because they release a lot of practice videos of him shooting threes. So
it's like he cannot possibly miss worse than Maxey did.
Right. Overall, this is a great win. Thank you to the Kings losing to Jalen Brunson last night. Thank you, Dix.
Did you see that? Did you see that move that Brunson pulled? That one that was social. Like that was one of the mean. That's like something you do in pickup ball, where he just catches the guy looking. So good, so good.
Man, Jalen Brunson is a beast. But I'm happy that they got the win last night against the Kings, because that helps us. And also, thank you to the Phoenix Suns for playing little to damn near no defense at all against the Milwaukee Bucks without Giannis today. So,
exactly
all
right.
in all, thank you, Kyrie, and let's go Mavs. Thank you, Kirk, for having me up on stage.
You're the man, Jose. Talk soon. I did want to point out one thing about Lively's game. I was being, and I'm not a little bit on social. I'm holding Lively to a high standard, because I think Lively can do really great things. I thought his resilience this game was very impressive, meaning Derek Lively in particular. Lively made some bafflingly bad mistakes for him, rookie, whatever. But I've really loved his game where he missed a Luka alley-oop. He missed a Luka, like a pass just went through his hands out of bounds. He got lost a lot on help defense in the first half. He fouled Jokic twice in the first quarter in those 6 minutes. And he was just kind of off. It's kind of off, but he kept playing. and he played fantastic in the second half. I was really just enjoying his game. I wanted to kind of point that out.
We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Just go to Indeed.com/Blue Wire right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
All right, coming up next is my man Henry. Henry, how you doing?
Talk to me nice, Kurt. Stop playing with the GOAT. Talk to me nicely.
Look,
Kurt.
you were late to the first show. We talked about Kyrie.
Yeah, it was.
We talked about
It was.
Kyrie's shot for 8 solid minutes. It was great.
It was
It was
absolutely
great.
late. But before that, shout out to Luka, first off, for hitting the shot to put Kai in the position. You can't, as a fan, having both your stars hit it when it matters, you can't ask for a better ending to a game. Luka setting it up and then just Kai knocks it out of the park. You can't ask for anything better than that.
Where the hell was Luka on the game-winning play? I wasn't even looking because I was just my eyes kind of follow Kyrie.
So he came around. Kai came around, curled over from the sideline, and then Luka was going towards the basket, and he's just watching it underneath. It looks it, and then he hits the ground. Like I thought, Luka was finna cry tears of joy,
Right?
No joke. But I think he was just kind of like in disbelief, like ain't no way he just hit that shit. But yeah, no, you can't ask for anything better than that. This game was so good. I'm willing to overlook Jason Kidd closing with Maxi Kleber. I don't know, absolutely no idea what that traffic cone was doing in the game. No idea. I'm a big proponent for Omax, but this is not the time. This is not the team to experiment with putting Omax in, but he can't be worse than this at this point.
The Maxi minutes were so and look, like I get the theory because I don't mind Maxi's defense, but the offense, it's become 4-on-5. They do not guard Maxi. And I'm tired of all kinds of people in my life, smart basketball people, have told me, well, it was Maxi's floor spacer. Teams are guarding him. I'm like, no, they're fucking not. They're not guarding him. That second three, the one that was from the right wing, very close. Yes, the air ball. There was like, it was like the Red Sea parted where they're like, fucking fine, you take the shot, bro. And then it was like, look out below. It was a horrifying shot. And I feel bad for the guy because it's not his, like, it is his fault that he's missing, but he's doing his assignment when he's in the game. But, you know, you're going against a Denver team that's amazing at scoring. I actually didn't think the Dallas defense down that stretch was that bad. It's just when the offense was, I mean, again, 4 points from 6 minutes, 50 seconds until Luka hit the three. That's how bad the offense was. And I did not like what Kidd was letting Luka and Kyrie do, predominantly Luka, where they're kind of going ISO ball heavy. And it's like, stop trying to run the clock out. You have to score against Denver. And I don't want to say they escaped, but I'll take it. I would much rather them win than lose and us get to nitpick about stuff like this than hyper fixating on the lineup decision down the stretch.
I still can't believe we won this while being absolute shit from the 3-point line. Like if the threes start falling, we're handedly beating a lot of teams in the West. This is numero uno reason why teams don't want to see us in the, because most people only have one superstar. Right. We actually have two. I'll give it to Denver, obviously, with the Jokic Murray pick and roll. But we're one of the few teams who actually have two people who, when palms get sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, is vomit on the shoulder already.
Sure.
Spaghetti, he nervous. We got two people that's actually going to get it done. But what do you feel was the biggest takeaway from this game? What do you feel was the biggest takeaway from this game?
I thought that the Mavericks played with a physicality as a team that I've not seen them do very often because it's, you know, Denver was a little asleep at the wheel. Like I'm glad the Mavericks won, but it took Denver kind of being asleep for part of this, but they never punched back. And the Mavericks coming out with the level of crashing the boards on both ends and really challenging the Nuggets at the rim as the game went on. They were pretty bad about it early on. But that was something that I was really delighted to see. It's the second game that they've won here out of the past few our man Cowboy in the chat pointed this out, and you just mentioned it yourself. They won without 3-point shooting. And I'm pleased with that. Is that a sustainable path for success for this team? No. But what they showed me in this one, and really what they have not showed in so many big games against quality opponents this year, is the team has not stepped up on defense at the right moment. And that was something I'm sure Kid in his post game has probably talked about that, because that's what he begged for. And it was really nice to see it. And because, you get to the playoffs, and, you've talked about Kyrie Irving playoff stuff a lot. Luka's playoff success last few years has been there for sure. But you still want to see it in the regular season, at least at times. And so to know that these guys in a slower possession game can bring the defensive intensity, that's what I'm really walking away from.
Yeah, that's right. Shout out to Dodang in the chat here as well. I'm definitely willing to go half on that hitman for Kid, but I definitely like the slowing it down, and it's, how do I say it? I'm not really sure how I want to say it, but great team win. I mean, okay, last year when Denver won it, they weren't the best defensive team. I think they were somewhere between 14, 16, somewhere in there. They were pretty of a middle of the pack defensive team when they won the title. But there were 2 to 3 minute stretches where they would actually become a top 10 defense. And that's really all you need. You need certain bursts and stretches, 2, 3, 4 minutes where you absolutely shut down the other team. And if we can do that, we're good to go. And I see people no, he doesn't. If anyone who watches ball, Jalen Brunson is closer. Okay, this is going to show who knows ball. If you were watching Isaiah Thomas when he was with the Celtics, and I think he was like a dark horse MVP candidate, averaging 27, 28 before he had that tragedy in his family, Jalen Brunson is closer to Isaiah Thomas than he is Kyrie Irving. And that's no disrespect to Jalen Brunson. Yeah. No disrespect to Brunson. I love Brunson. He actually shouted out Kyrie after the game. So Jalen Brunson is closer to Isaiah Thomas at his peak with the Celtics than he is Kyrie Irving. So
I think Kyrie and Luka's. I think Brunson. I'm sorry, Luka and Brunson's games are a little too, like, they're stylistically more similar than I think people want to admit, because it's kind of more herky jerky, whereas Kyrie's game is still very, very fluid. Doesn't and I think, like, Irving requires the ball less than Brunson does to be effective. Like, that's
and they're averaging almost the exact same stats when Brunson's usage is close to Luka's is the number one option. And I think they're off by maybe like a 1.5 to maybe 2 points as a second option. So
Brunson's usage is pretty high, and nobody really talks about that. It's like
extremely high,
which is fine. I mean, it works. The Knicks are pretty awesome, and they're built for playoff stuff. But I think if you're looking for a stylistic difference, this Mavericks team gives you different looks, because I don't think just to be quite candid, like, Brunson does not get that shot off the way Kyrie does. Like, that's just an athleticism difference. It's a different style of athleticism. So,
yep. Shay, dang, that's the one thing I'm gonna disagree with you. You said Brunson for president. Get out of here. But shout out to him, real game, recognized game. Shout out to Dame. Shout out to KG. Shout out to everybody that's obviously giving it. But do we become the 6th seed now?
I think there's a path. The Mavericks need to not fuck around, and that's where I really still am concerned, because those 2 Kings games are basically going to be the decision point. They have 5 games ahead until those. If the Mavericks are able to, like, go on an earnest to goodness win streak, and if they're to beat the Kings, then I think they have the inside track to the 6th seed. But the Kings are a brutal matchup for Mavericks.
Are we not the 6th seed tonight? Because I think we overtake them by 1 win.
Let's go look at the ESPN standings. You'd think I would know this, but I don't. Let's see here.
We've already won the season tiebreaker with the Suns, so if we come down time, we get the advantage.
The Kings have beat us twice is part of the problem right now. So we're tied with them in the standings, but we have played one more game than the Kings. But yeah, we're sitting at 7th. It's Kings, Mavericks, Suns are all tied at 8.5 games back from the Pelicans.
With Fantasia. No, I did not cry, but I definitely yelled in my fucking office.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. There's been like 3 or 4. I'd be curious. Somebody can probably tell me this, if there have been any other Mavericks games winners during the Luka era, because number one, it's not like there are that many opportunities for game winners, but it was just that one. And this is what Matthew and I talked about. I found the bubble up until this shot, the bubble game winner over the Clippers was probably my favorite one, because it was just so damn ridiculous. Yeah. But this was the highest degree of difficulty game-winning shot that I can remember in period, kind of in like the recent NBA history, because it's again, like these guys are so damn skilled. So it's not like Kyrie goes out and takes left-handed running hook shots. Okay.
No,
like that, that was a last second. That was like such a last second, like, oh shit, I'm going to get blocked. And it was just, it's great. I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely
so amazing.
I do think we have unless the Pelicans fall off, I don't see us getting the 5th seed. The 6th seed,
Sure.
I think, is pretty handily ours, only because I'm sure you've seen it. Our schedule, after Sac in the 2 Golden State games, we pretty much have a pretty easy schedule. We can easily end the season on about a 10-game winning streak. And if you look at Phoenix's schedule, they got Boston, Cleveland, like Phoenix's schedule is absolutely brutal. So I think they're going to be in the play-in team. I think we go ahead and secure that 6th seed, and then we let the chips fall where they may from there. As long as we don't run into Denver before the Western Conference Finals, we'll be again in the Western Conference Finals. So that's it.
Strong takes. Thanks for coming once again. Always have a good day. Okay, coming up next is Krishna, and then we're going to go Brandon. Krishna, what's up, man? What do you got?
Kirk, how are you?
I'm okay. I was bitching during the first podcast. Like I have almost like a post adrenaline rush headache from that because it was just such a crazy finish.
No, I 100% agree. I watch at my desk, and my desk is like kind of it's at stand, kind of a semi like waist level.
Mm-hmm.
I literally fell out of my chair, and I was just like my hands were like this, and my head was like this on the desk after the shot. This team just doesn't win games in a normal way, whether it was 3-point shooting team or now this paint dominance team. I don't know what it is, but, I get it. There's a lot to be frustrated with about this game. Of course, I'm not going to sit here and say,
I really don't like there are elements of the offense. The Mavericks just didn't play well.
No, for sure. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes this game so ridiculous is that they won anyways. And usually we're just so used to the Mavericks only winning during a series of prescribed, these things have to happen for Dallas to win. Like Josh Bowe's flow chart, where it's like, are the Mavericks hitting their threes? Yes, they're an NBA title contender. Are the Mavericks missing their threes? No, they're the worst team in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, to go an entire game, we're not like, it's like not even one, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you said, okay, 1 of 13, I kind of believe 0 for 13. Not a single other player hit a 3. That was not Luka, Kyrie. Like that is an insane thing. I can't think of another team where that would happen, and you would be like, "Oh, okay, it's fine."
Right.
And part of it is just some of these players I think aren't good enough to do it, and part of it is just that this roster has changed even just from the beginning of the season. Like this is a very different roster. People will say, "Okay, like 2 trades, how much does that change?" But it changes a lot. Like it changes a lot of this roster. I mean, I was looking at Jokic's stats. Jokic's worst games come up against really good centers. Like 2 of his worst games are against the Heat. And, for as much as, we did well against Bam Adebayo is still an all-level defender at the center position for as short as he is. And yes, I agree with you. Lively definitely struggled in the first half. But the thing I've always felt like that makes Lively so good is his ability to learn and improve in situations.
Yes.
And you saw that in this game.
Like he improves in game. Like that's the thing that's so crazy to me. Usually you see things like over the course of a series, over the course of months. Lively kind of figures out what he's not doing great at and improves enough to where it makes a difference. I was somebody in the comments was like, "Oh, you need to be lighter on Lively." But basically what I was trying to get across was in the first half, he was getting his ass whooped on defense. He just was. And in the second half, the Mavericks stopped getting crushed at certain points. Now, why is that? It's because Lively was playing a little bit better defense. He just was. I mean, it wasn't all him, but enough to where you feel comfortable with him going back in there. It's great. I love being able to say, I wonder how he's going to respond. Not, oh shit, this guy's out of the game now.
Yeah, and even his rookie wall, right, which he had, I think that was, I don't want to say inevitable, but it happens to every single player forget about rookie season. It happens to every player during some points of the season. It's very rare that non-superstars players are play at their set level for the entire season. Like that's a rare occurrence. And so the thing, like you said, it's just his ability to improve, and he doesn't let things get to his head, right? It's something that, as much as Josh Green has improved, and I'm a supporter of Josh Green, I think he's getting better. it's something that clearly affects so many players. Like it's what we saw with Dante in the OKC game. Like you let small things become a snowball and an avalanche when you let them get into your head. And that could have easily happened to Lively.
Yeah.
Some of those fouls I thought were pretty bad, but that's what happens, right? When you're playing against a guy like Jokic, who one is very physical, but also just way smarter than most guys in getting calls and baiting and putting guys in the right position. And so I thought he did a great job. And even on offense, like, I mean, how many centers, like I guess Wemby and Chet, but like there are not many centers agile enough to just pull a Euro step in a fast break transition. Like that's stupid stuff. And so I don't know. I'm just really happy. And the thing that makes me happier is like, this is the worst we're going to see him. Like he'll probably just get better from here. And like, I know you've talked about it and everyone talks like the 3-point shooting. I think for him, it's like, it's a timing thing. And like, you have to actually put it into an offense, like to have a 3-point shooter. But I also think it's just fine, like just not being a 3-point shooter right now. Like he's still so effective as a player in the paint. And I get it. Some of the hand stuff was frustrating, but I don't know. I'm just still really, really happy about him. And obviously at the same time, you have to say the same for Gafford. Like this team is not going to be this competitive in a game if you only have Lively, because you would have to play Lively 48 minutes and that's just not going to happen. And so, I guess to criticize players. Yeah. I think Maxey, the offense overall, I think has struggled. And I think the spacing for this offense has not been good.
Yeah.
And I felt like, even with Josh out there, you can see it. Like this team has struggled to shoot the ball so much. PJ has looked really bad in terms of shooting, clearly. Maxey has not been great at all shooting. Even Dante, you can see unless it's wide open, and even in the wide open situations, these guys are just not confident taking threes at all.
Which is weird. Like, why are you not confident? There's nobody near you.
It's become this like syndrome where it's like it's so funny to me because it's like they take so long to decide if they're going to shoot it when they should just shoot it. Like if you miss at that point, just shoot it. I think people and everyone would just be less frustrated if it was far more reactionary, right?
Yes.
And it's the thing that I think keeps Tim somewhat relevant to this team. And in a way, I think what makes Hardy a little different is like players who just shoot their shot, like even if you want them to or not, it's kind of rare. Like we like to think that every player, when they get the opportunity, is just going to chuck it. But like clearly you look at this team, that's not the case. And so, yeah, I get it. That is clearly an issue, but you have to be able to, again, if you're not going to be able to shoot the three, you have to score in the paint. And this is not the only game, obviously, but it's encouraging that this team has at least been able to circumvent that struggle, which is it's a struggle with really good paint offense. And then even defensively, you got bad games from Jokic and Murray, but part of that is, they just didn't have good games. But part of it is you had to play pretty good defense at points. And, credit to them and credit to the guys. I still think, to me, obviously, there's always going to be places to improve and there's always going to be areas to improve. But I think it's something I felt like this entire season. This is almost like a redo. It shouldn't be, but it feels like a redo where this would have been a good roster in Luka's second season.
Yep.
A very talented roster that can grow in with him. Now, the thing you have to see is, can these guys grow up very fast and get ready and play at a high level very quickly? But, I'm not going to complain too much. I mean, how many times are you going to beat, the defending champions who I don't think they had lost except for the game against Phoenix post All-Star breaks. And again, this is also, I hadn't seen this, but, we went 5 of 6 before this stretch.
Right.
Now 5 of 6 with wins. Like this team just goes on the weirdest winning and losing runs. And so it's just very funny to me. I mean, I don't even know who we have next. I'm that discombobulated. Usually I know who we do, but I think there's more positives than negatives to me. The fact that, and you and Matthew talked about it, this team in a weird way is now built where it's like, okay, 3 of you guys just play defense. Luka and Kyrie are going to do everything on offense.
Right.
And how good or bad that is, I don't know. I'm not necessarily confident in that, but I do think it's clearly a far departure from anything that we've ever seen for this team. And so I'm excited to see where this goes, but great win. Great win. You can't
great win. I love it.
Take care,
Man,
Kirk.
thanks so much for hanging out. All right. So now we're going to go to Brandon, and then we're going to go to Brian, who is probably confused that it's not the middle of the night. Brandon, what's up?
Kirk, man, I'm glad they won. That was a good game. It was a real good game.
So I got to ask you something right before we start. You and Mr. Dodang are our old-timer Mavericks fans, meaning you're old as shit, and you've seen some stuff.
Yeah.
Where does this Kyrie Irving game winner rank for you in the ones that you've seen in your time?
Man, you know, Kirk, yeah, I'm that old. I'm gonna put it like this. I look at the ones that the Mavs have lost off of game winners. And I'm old enough to, and you probably remember too, LaMarcus Aldridge used to burn Dallas.
Oh God, yeah.
And it was every year, every game, he was just killing them. And it was just like, you know, Dallas will play really good, and they'll go to Portland, and Portland just had a number. So I can't really think of one where it's Dallas, but as in terms of like just the franchise wise, I had to rank it up there with one of the Aldridge game winners because, man, you know. When Portland played, it wasn't like a rivalry, but Portland would never let them get the best of them. And tonight, Dallas never really just let Denver get the best of them.
Yeah,
and man, I said in the chat earlier that he beat him with the cream skyhook. So,
it really was. I mean, it was absolutely the most skyhooking looking shot that I've seen in an NBA game in a long time. It was great.
That's crazy. And man, this is just an old guy story right here, Kirk. So it has nothing to do with the game tonight, but people would go to Dallas. Well, they would go to the games to watch the Stars play back then because sure. This is early Michael Jordan days. So when Bird went, you probably heard the story before. When Bird went to Dallas, they would sell out a lot of tickets,
of course,
because they wouldn't. Everybody would want to see Bird, but Boston would rarely play Dallas back then. So
right, once a year at most, yeah.
Watch the Lakers run them off the court or go watch Bird. So that was just an old guy story. But Kirk, I think that Dallas kind of proved, like you said before, they could win without threes. But at the same time, if they play consistent pace of play all four quarters, which I can't remember the last game where they played all four quarters, they could run with anybody. You know what I mean? And I don't know if the box score was an implication of Dallas hustling, but they shot significantly more shots than Denver. Denver let off 84 shots, but Dallas let off 100.
Yeah. The offensive rebounding was massive.
Yeah. Dallas didn't hit a lot of threes, but Denver didn't hit a lot of threes either. So it just seems to me that, Dallas putting more effort into playing on both ends of the court was the implication of them being able to kind of, come out on top and just be in it for, all four quarters as opposed to having to play comeback.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's nice. It's very nice. And now we get to go on with the rest of our day, and it's not the middle of the night. That's the part that I'm most pleased with. I could watch a lot more 2:30 basketball. So, yeah. And our friends overseas also got to see a lot of this game live. I think a lot of them were staying up pretty late, but they're not staying up till like 5 a.m, like some of the crazies that I've talked to over the years. Well, you got anything else for us, my man?
No, that's it, man. I'm just hoping that they, kind of look at the box, look at the tape and say, hey, we need to hustle a little bit more, and kind of that's right. That's our niche right there.
I kick Kid in the shins a lot because he frustrates me, but this is a lot of what he's been talking about, where he's like, you guys have to play like this. If you play this way, the team's not constructed to do it over 82 games just because of the stylistic way the guys play, but I'm glad to see that they can do it.
Are you surprised to hear, and this is what they said on the radio. Are you surprised that Kid has not had a technical all year?
Oh, yeah. I'm mad at him. That's one of my things he needs to fucking do. Like, I'm sorry, like this – basketball, I know this is a job, and I know it's a long season, but one of my biggest consistent Kid gripes is I don't think he goes to war at the right times for his team. He's great at calling challenges. Yeah. He is getting a little bit better about calling timeouts. He's great at out of timeout stuff, but I want to see him absolutely go to bat for Luka once in a while because it's Luka's wrong a lot on a lot of the stuff he complains about, but every now and again, he's not. Yeah, I love it. So. All right, man. Thanks so much. We'll talk soon, okay?
Thank you, Kurt.
All right, coming up last is Brian. Brian, were you confused that the show's been going on for a while? What's going on, dude?
No, man, I actually had something I needed to handle first, and then I was like, all right, let me check and see if the stream is still going.
Did you have to go practice a left-handed running skyhook for like a half hour? I wouldn't blame you if that was the case. That's really what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I got like 5 of those up in my backyard real quick. I went 1 for 5, but I hit that one, so that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Man.
What are you thinking today?
I am just, dude, basketball made me happy today. That's, that's
a correct takeaway.
That's kind of the main thought. And I'm like, wow, when was the last time I just said that and meant it? And there was no but or an and coming. The shot was amazing. Kyrie, I actually want to give Kyrie credit. Luka credit too, to a lesser degree, but Kyrie in particular, just for like the defensive effort from like the start of the game. Those dudes were locked in, like on both ends. But on defense, like you saw early, like Kyrie had like the on-ball steal on Jokic, or he had to jump like 2 feet in the air to get to the ball that was on Jokic's shoulder and to poke it out and start that the fast break. That was fun. Just seeing them kind of be locked in all the way through. Luka not getting lost off ball nearly as much as he usually does. Derrick Jones Jr. and PJ Washington and Lively and Gafford just all kind of being like menacing defensively from I'd say the second half of the first quarter on through the rest of the game. Lively had a bit of in-game growth because, dude, when he gets in the weight room this summer and comes back and just can consistently finish through contact, it's going to be scary because he gave up like 6 points on just missed dunks in the first quarter where he just caught the ball, tried to slam it, and got a bump and either missed or, fumbled the ball in midair or something like that. And then for the rest of the game, he was pretty good going through contact. But him and Gafford giving second and third and fourth efforts on the offensive glass, really doing a good job on Jokic. Luka and PJ in particular on switches, doing good jobs on Jokic in the post and letting those bigs be able to roam and come in and double. There were a couple times Luka got switched on to Jokic, and I think Jokic scored both times, but Luka did a pretty good job holding his ground considering he was guarding his friend who's like twice his size.
Yes. A couple of big boys running against each other.
Yeah, they were just bumping against each other in the paint, having fun. So I was like, you know what, man, I appreciate the effort. But, yeah, it was a fun game. Luka, he missed so many bunnies in this game. I thought it was hard, but then he hit some big shots. He hit 3 to tie it. He had a couple threes to keep us in the game when it looked like Denver might be slipping away with it in the third. And dude, it got to the point where I was like, all right, we getting the MPJ hits everything game very early on.
He's been really good lately. MPJ has just been really good.
Yeah, man, he's been really good. KCP has been one of my favorite players in the league for a couple of years now. And Luka just kind of tore through KCP like tissue paper in the second half. It was fun to watch. Kyrie was awesome. Jamal Murray was awesome late in the game like he usually is. He missed that open pull-up that could have won the game.
Yeah.
And then he went too early before he missed it too, which is what gave us the time we needed to get that crazy Kyrie shot. But he was still awesome. Jokic didn't score much, but I think our bigs just did a good job against him. I don't want to take credit away from them. Yeah. But he still was dominating with his passing. And yeah, our guys were keeping him off the offensive glass, which I thought was crazy. When was the last time I saw 1 or 2 centers in the league?
Well, they really cleaned it up in the third quarter because he kind of kicked their butts in the second quarter. And then it was that must have been a halftime emphasis of guys, keep him off the glass.
Yeah, and there was a lot of gang rebounding too because I'd see them put 1-2 bodies on him at a time sometimes just to keep him out of there, or have someone boxing him out and then have Lively or Gafford trying to high point the ball and knock it out of his hands if he got it.
Yep.
So we didn't see nearly as many putbacks because that's usually how he kills us.
And he just kills teams with that because he doesn't look like he should be able to get the board at all, but he's able to use kind of his girth against athleticism to be able to body people.
Well, and also one of the things that I don't get that people still don't understand about Jokic, he's still an NBA athlete. He's a good athlete. You see him get the ball and go run with it in transition and lead the break. I saw Derek Lively run with him on one of those, and sure, Lively was faster than him, but not by much. And then when he's going up and he's high pointing the ball, that is I don't care what they list him at on the official NBA stat sheet or whatever. That dude is like 7'2". He's 7'2", jumping up a decent amount, going to get the ball and high pointing both his arms straight up in the air. Like, dude, that's really difficult to keep him from killing you on the offensive glass like that. And we did. And I'm just really proud of our guys. Aaron Gordon got away with a couple crazy travels, but he still had a good game too. Like, he was killing us on backdoor cuts and stuff like that, where Luka or PJ or somebody was falling asleep. But no, man, I was just
enjoy this win because there's only 2 games this week. You got to revel in these. We're getting closer and closer to the end of the season. You got anything else before we head out of Dodge?
No, first real statement win of the season. We got a lot of easy games coming up. Let's wrap this up.
They can't fuck around. They just cannot fuck around.
They cannot.
All right, everybody. Brian, you're the best, man. Thanks for leading us out of here.
Of course, brother. Thanks for having me.
All right, if you guys would do me a favor and head over to MavsMoneyball.com, we got a lot of content up about this game. I asked for somebody to do a post specifically about Kyrie Irving's shot, which I just posted during this, which is why if I wasn't looking into my camera, that's what's going on. Thank you so much for hanging out here, guys. Please like and subscribe to the show. Leave a comment on the YouTube after you're done. You guys are the best. We will be back on Tuesday night. Everybody enjoy this good start to your week. Go Mavs.